Are you a good dad? That's something I ask myself all the time. How do you even know? I mean, it's not the same as it was for our dads. Our kids are assaulted with information every second of the day. The words we use, it feels like they change their meaning on a moment by moment basis. And frankly speaking, it can feel like the need for a strong man and father in today's society is marginalized. So how do you even know? Well, I can't tell you the definitive answer, but I can share with you some personal experiences on what I think has made me a better father. And I can tell you that getting outside through overlanding or car camping, truck camping, adventure travel, whatever you want to call it, has definitely played a role in that improvement for me. But I know not every guy's the same, so I'm also going to include some perspectives from my friends who are outdoorsmen, fathers who have YouTube channels, and they're going to share how this experience has changed them as well. Additionally, I put this question out to my Patreon group and got some really rich comments back from them, so I'm going to share those as well, as we all talk about how overlanding has made us better fathers. So for me, I think the thing that's changed the most is my ability to let go of things. And there's no better teacher than the outdoors to like kind of force you to do that. So when I first started taking my kids out with me, I would basically try to stop things from happening. I wanted them to adhere to the rules of the civilized world, even though we were out in the wild world. Don't get dirty, don't get your feet wet, don't pee in the wrong place. You know, these things that seem very important to us when we're at home, but when you're out there, it's impossible to stop those things from happening. So I was wasting all of this effort, and I was getting into this kind of negative mental state with my kids on like, don't do this, don't do that, like this is gonna be a problem. And I had to let that go because that's no way to like sustain a trip over time. And what happened was I went from trying to stop things from happening to just being okay, letting it all happen. And then when you let it all happen, that's the opportunity to be the father. And so for me, I now step in and I help coach them through these situations. So it's like, okay, you know, your shoes are wet now. What do we do? You know, what could you have done before you jumped in that creek, knowing that it's cold outside and now your feet are freezing? You know, like walking them through those scenarios. So they're getting tools to be able to make choices in the world around them instead of just getting like told what to do and consequences. And so my role has gone from like director to coach. And being on overlanding trips is a really good environment to be more of a coach because your family becomes your team. It's a team sport when you're out there. You're setting up camp, you're navigating from one place to the next, you're breaking down camp, just basically working together. And everybody in my family has a job, everybody has a role, everybody has input on what we're doing. And it really strengthens those bonds and gives you as a man an opportunity to be a leader on a team when you're outside. Now my kids come to me at home and ask for my advice on things. They're not scared that they're gonna have a consequence if they made a mistake. And so for me, that's been a huge change, a huge positive change that has directly come from being outside overlanding with my family. So next, I want to introduce you to Rob from Veer Overland, who has a fantastic YouTube channel. He's an adventure buddy of mine. We've been on lots of trips together, but he has a much younger kid. So he has a much different perspective that I think would be really interesting to hear.
I don't think that overlanding has made me a better father, or at least not that I would know, because I've been doing this since before my son was born and took him out when he was about 3 months old. So he's been doing this almost his entire life now that he's 2. I will say that it has improved my experience of overlanding, and I'm able to enjoy what he's doing and what I've already done again, because I get to see these sights through his eyes. I have never seen someone so excited about seeing a cow that I get to enjoy it. We've also revisited a lot of these sites, a lot of campsites, national parks, and states that I've been to in the past, and have really enjoyed them and seen them from a fresh perspective. And it really has made the whole thing just a lot more rewarding. It is definitely a lot more work taking a baby and a toddler out with you, especially when you're doing it by yourself, but it's been worth every second.
Thanks, Rob. You know, I've had the pleasure of traveling with you and your son, and one of the things I think is so cool is that that boy experiences the world through joy, not through fear. And I think part of that might be genetic, but I think part of it might be that he's out there with his dad, providing safety and understanding as he's experiencing these new things, which I think will be a powerful building block for him as he grows up. So it's just really cool to watch. Now let's hear from another travel buddy of mine, David from Off the Grind. Great YouTube channel, also father to a young son, and I think his perspective is really important to hear.
My name is David with Off the Grind, and I'm very excited today to talk to you guys about how overlanding has helped me become a better father. My reason is a little bit different because it's not very often that I actually take my son out when I go camping, but it has still made a dramatic impact on me when I return home. So I've kind of slowly been opening up about this lately in the last few months or whatever, but when I left the military, I really struggled mentally with a couple of things, processing some of the things that I was involved in, that kind of, you look at those things differently in a civilian light. Feel like you're no longer kind of indoctrinated and in that environment anymore, so things can kind of shift after the fact, and it did for me. And then struggling to find kind of my place in life, that was really hard. Combine that with, once I finally got a job, there were reminders there that always dragged me back to those mental hurdles that I was struggling with that I hadn't gotten over yet. So all that said, it made me a very short-tempered person. I think my son was young enough to not really realize, but I definitely noticed myself not being the dad that I should have. The only exception to that was when I got back from a trip. Overlanding, car camping, whatever you want to call it, when you're out here like this and get your mind completely away from all that other stuff that you have to deal with work, home life, whatever drama, family stuff you have going on. Out here, none of that is present. You can completely escape that and clear your mind. And for me, when I return home a better person. And because of that, I'm a much better father now. When I'm home, I'm super present and just enjoy my time with my son, where before I was always distracted and kind of just waiting for him to go to bed. It's not like that anymore because I have this outlet that allows me to shut all the other noise out. So while I have the opportunity, I wanted to say that overlanding and car camping has definitely helped me a ton with becoming a better father, but the relief I get from that would have been short-lived had I not sought help in the form of therapy. That was a really big turning point for me as well. So I just wanted to say, if you're struggling with that and you don't have someone to reach out to, I have a discount code for BetterHelp. I don't get a commission off that or anything like that, but it'll give you a discount so you can seek the help if you want it. I love my little man so much, and I'm so grateful that I'm at the point now to where I can be the father that I want to be and that he needs me to be. And in large part, that's due to overlanding. So thank you so much, Will, for inviting me to be a part of this collaboration. It means a lot to me.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
Thanks, David. Thanks for sharing something that's so personal to you. I really hope there are people out there who are listening and can relate to it. Now let's hear from Caleb over at Baker Overland, who's got a fantastic YouTube channel. It's kind of like mine, except for probably a lot better. Anyway, he's got this thing on kids and rockets that I think is really cool.
Hey guys, Caleb from Baker Overland. I'm up here in my studio this week. Didn't have a chance to get out in the woods, but I still was so excited to be a part of this video that Will is doing, because parenthood, being a dad, is literally the whole reason that I got into overlanding. So real quick, show you guys this. These are my 3 babies. Love these kiddos so much, and you've probably seen them in some of my content if you've watched any of my videos. For me, getting into overlanding at the core was about coming up with like adventures and fun memories that I could have with my kids. And I know that I'm not unique in that. Probably a lot of the other guys on this collaboration have said the same thing. But what I want to talk about particularly is the notion of fatherhood being like launching rockets. Parenthood goes through a couple of phases. In the beginning, we're all about protection. We have these little infants that don't know how to feed themselves, don't know how to take care of themselves, and we're in a very protective mode for a while. Then we transition out of that and we go into equipping. And equipping, for me, I love this analogy of it being like launching rockets. So we are making sure that the rocket has everything that it needs for a successful launch and to carry on a long-term trajectory and do what it's intended to do. And so in order to do that, as a dad, we think about as our kids go out into the world and become contributing citizens and spouses and employees and all that stuff, we want to make sure that they have those foundational elements in their character that really allow them to thrive. And for me, getting out in the Ozarks, that's what's close to me, just out in nature, I can't really think of a better way to instill confidence, drive, courage than going camping, going exploring. So I actually made a video about this on my channel. I really took some time to dig into the things about fatherhood that I think are so much fun, and the things about fatherhood that I think are really difficult at times. I would encourage you, if you haven't seen that video, I'll have Will put a link to that down in the description of this one, just called Being a Dad. If you are a father and you have kids and you are either in this space or you're considering getting in this space, man, I highly encourage you to check that out. I've got some encouraging words for you in there, some stuff that I was kind of preaching to the choir on. I needed to hear it. But I hope that you'll check that out. Thanks for the invite to this collab, Will. Back to you.
Thanks, Caleb. That was great. I love your stuff, man. And this was no exception. Next, I want to introduce you to Matt from Fries on the Side, which is a great overlanding channel, very family friendly, overlanding, camping, family stuff. And he has a take on dealing with change that I think is really cool.
Thanks, Will, for hosting me on your channel, and especially on such a great topic. My name is Matt Fry with Fries on the Side, and we are a family-based camping, overlanding adventure channel. Overlanding has made me a better father by simply embracing and managing change. Overlanding and camping inherently comes with change. Whether a planned route is closed, whether a trail is more difficult than expected and takes longer, whether kids get hungry or tired sooner than expected, whether a campsite is not where you thought it was or is occupied. Managing this change can be stressful, especially with little ones. So how does this make me a better father? Well, so when I'm confronted with change and it's time to pivot, it has taught me to be relaxed, take a breath, and evaluate the situation and put others' needs in front of my own. There will be sacrifices, there will be compromises, there will be wins, and there will be losses. But dealing with these changes often makes the most memorable experiences. Overlanding has taught me to be flexible, be open-minded, and embrace change. And most importantly, not to chase adventure, but let adventure find you. And that's why overlanding has made me a better father.
Somehow that coin got turned into a rock on its way over here, but hey, that's change for you. Next, let's hear from Ian over at Doc Wrangler, who goes out on the trail with his boys all the time. So I'm really interested to see how it's changed him.
Hey guys, Ian, otherwise known as Doc Wrangler on the trail and YouTube. Right now I'm not on the trail, I'm actually in my backyard sitting here reflecting about how overlanding has made me a better father. I got into overlanding specifically to spend more time with my boys. I've always been a Jeep guy, camping in a tent, in the woods, but with two little ones, that gets really hard. Add in a rooftop tent, running water, tons of electricity, and pretty much a Jeep full of stuff for kids, and it gets a lot easier. Overlanding with my boys makes me a better father in ways that I can't even explain, but let me try. My primary directive in life right now is to raise these boys to be resilient men who have fulfilled lives and are happy. And that can be really hard to figure out how to do. I don't know how to raise these boys to be perfect men, but I know that giving them a good example is a solid start. I want to show them patience, optimism, resilience, but finding tough situations in life to model those is a little bit hard to do. Enter overlanding. There's literally 10 experiences every day that are challenging us, and we're having to think our way through them together. All of our challenges have one thing in common: we pull through. Beyond these life lessons and skills, there's a magic in overlanding, and it has to do with the shared experiences that we're creating out there. We wake up to epic sunrises among these towering trees with these lofty mountains surrounding us. We go to bed underneath the Milky Way. These are shared experiences that we then draw on together. And I can't tell you how many times I've picked them up from like school, and their teacher or a coach or a friend's parent says, "Wow, you guys sound like you had an awesome adventure last week." And I realize the boys are telling all their friends about it, and they're excited about it, the way they're describing it. And it just makes me so happy. We've been doing this for years, and I get to watch my boys grow, not just in person and in the wilderness, but on our YouTube videos as well. And I see not just them getting taller, but I see them developing confidence, developing curiosity, developing that resilience that we're trying to teach them. Overlanding has given us this shared place where we can do this. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. My advice to any parent is just get out there. There's nothing you can do wrong as long as you survive. Focus on surviving, and then show them the wilderness.
Ian, that was awesome, man. And dude, I gotta tell you, it's really cool to see how much time you spend on the trail with your boys and the things that you teach them when you're out there with them. It's honestly inspiring. So thanks for inspiring me to get out with my kids more. Next, let's hear from Teddy over at Unwinding Roads, who has a YouTube channel that's based up in British Columbia, Canada. And I had the chance to meet Teddy and his young family this summer at Overland Expo Pacific Northwest. And so I'm really interested to see what he has to say about how overlanding has made him a better father.
Hello everybody watching Venture to Roam, and how's it going, Will? Thank you very much for having me on this particular video about dads and overlanding. My name is Teddy, and my channel is Unwinding Roads, for those of you that don't know. And we do adventure videos, and I try to get my family out as much as I can on those adventures. I have a 10-year-old son, and I have a 1-year-old daughter. One of the many things that being a father and overlanding has taught me is to really slow down and enjoy the moment. I am 100% guilty of being one of those people that's always thinking of tomorrow and what needs to be done. So there's always something to do and there's always something to get done. So it's really hard for me to slow down and enjoy my time. And with the kids, you see them working on things and building things, learning things. You know, Theo, like I said, he's 10 years old now, and he's fishing and he's, you know, putting together a fire pit. You know, when Theo was Annabella's age, I was 34. Now I'm 43, and time is moving a lot quicker than it used to, that's for sure. So having Annabella at this age, I really make sure that I enjoy the moment. As many of you that have multiple kids will know, the first one, I couldn't wait for him to get out of diapers. I couldn't wait for him to ride his bike. I couldn't wait for always the next step. Whereas with this one, I'm happy with where she is now. Theo's actually currently in Portugal and learning a little bit more about our family history, and he's having a great time. Yeah, high five. Can you say hi? And this one stayed home with us. But yeah, that's the big one for me, is just to sit down, watch, enjoy, teach them if I have that opportunity, and just slow down and enjoy the moment. Will, thanks again for everything you do for the overlanding community. Love your videos, can't wait to see your next adventure. Until next time, go away, get lost and unwind. Can you say bye?
Thanks, Teddy. Maybe one of these days we can get our families on the trail together. I think that'd be cool. By the way, that goes for all the guys in this video. I'd love to get on the trail with you with our families at some point. But now I want to share with you some of the comments that I received from my Patreon community. So one of the things that we do in my Patreon group is we talk about this stuff. So I'll put out a request saying, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think about it? Or can I get your input on this particular topic? And this is one of them that we talked about. So I just want to share with you some of the things that they said about how overlanding has changed them as parents. So the first one I want to read you is from Lehman Upfit. And he writes, there is a tenderness that comes out of a father when camping that doesn't come out as much in everyday life. At home, I just feel like we have multiple roles to play, but when we get out of that element and get into the overlanding element, life's a lot more basic and it lets a lot of different things shine through. Yeah. Okay, the next one is from Joshua Wadsworth, and he writes, I started overlanding as a way to get my kids out while their mom was deployed. And I found that I was able to connect with my children, teach them life skills that matter, and get them away from devices such as their iPads for most of that time. I feel it made them more self-reliant and aware of their surroundings. I also have found that my bond with them is so much better and stronger. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, it's been a life-changing experience and one that has me going in another direction with my family now, as it has shown me finally that there is more to life than my career. Yes, yes, exactly. That's it. Okay, the last one that I want to share with you is from Raptor Pack Adventures, and he writes, in 1986, I was blessed with having a son with Down syndrome. I immediately took him to the woods as an infant to experience the sensation of the environment and camp. Now at age 30, we have started a small YouTube channel to show the excitement, opportunities, and acceptance communities show to those with developmental disabilities. My son and I have now caught the overlanding bug. He's involved step by step in modifying our 4Runner, loves the adventures with his dad. If you're an overlander and have a child with special needs, take them with you. It's a life they'll never forget. Whew! Man, I could barely read that one. Gets you right there. So, does overlanding make you a better dad? Yes, clearly it does. Makes you a better father. I mean, you've heard from all of us about that subject. And so if you're curious about this, I encourage you to maybe go out by yourself first, experience it, then bring your family along and discover how it changes your relationship with them and changes your relationship with yourself. Until next time, I'm Will from Venture to Roam. Thanks for watching.